There was a time when everything seemed to fall apart for Elon Musk. Today, the world sees him as a billionaire, a genius behind Tesla and SpaceX, a man who dreams of colonizing Mars. But what most people don't know is that there was a moment when he stood at the edge of complete failure. Not just financial failure, but personal, emotional, and mental collapse. A moment when everything he had built was crumbling, when he had to make an impossible choice: give up or keep pushing forward. Years before the world knew his name, Musk had already tasted success. He had built and sold PayPal, making millions in the process. But instead of playing it safe and enjoying his wealth, he poured everything he had into two impossible dreams: revolutionizing the space industry and transforming the car industry. SpaceX and Tesla were born from this vision. But great ideas do not guarantee success. They demand sacrifice, and Musk would soon learn just how brutal that sacrifice could be. SpaceX was his dream of making space travel affordable and colonizing Mars. But in the early days, it was nothing more than a small team of engineers working in a modest warehouse, trying to build rockets with a fraction of NASA's budget. First launch ended in an explosion. Millions of dollars, gone in seconds. They tried again. The second launch, another failure. Investors began to doubt him. The media called him a fool. He had spent most of his fortune on these failed attempts. People around him started leaving. He was losing credibility. The third attempt was his last hope. If it failed, SpaceX would be finished. Meanwhile, Tesla was struggling to survive. The idea of an electric car company seemed ridiculous at the time. Traditional car companies dominated the industry, and investors didn't believe in the future of electric vehicles. The company was burning through cash at an alarming rate. Production delays, technical problems, and a lack of trust from the public pushed Tesla toward bankruptcy. Musk had already invested almost everything he had, but it wasn't enough. Employees weren't getting paid on time. Factories were shutting down. The pressure was crushing. Then came the hardest moment of his life. It was December 2008. He had just enough money left for one last rocket launch. If this final attempt failed, SpaceX would be finished. At the same time, Tesla was on the verge of bankruptcy. He had a choice: split the remaining money between the two companies, guaranteeing neither of them would survive, or risk everything on one last push. He decided to fight for both. He emptied his bank account, borrowed money, and did everything he could to keep both companies alive. He had nothing left, not just financially, but emotionally. The stress was unbearable. He was sleeping on friends' couches, working non-stop, dealing with constant failure and criticism. Then, something extraordinary happened. The fourth SpaceX launch succeeded. Against all odds, the rocket reached orbit. It was a breakthrough moment. NASA took notice and awarded SpaceX a $1 billion contract. The company was saved. Days later, Tesla secured last-minute funding from investors who finally saw its potential. Both companies, once inches from death, came back to life. It was the closest Musk had ever come to losing everything. But he refused to give up, even when the world gave him every reason to stop. This story is not just about Elon Musk. It's about the struggle that every dreamer faces. Success is never easy. There will be moments when everything seems lost, when the world tells you to quit, when failure feels inevitable. But true success is not about never failing. It's about refusing to stay down. It's about believing in your vision even when no one else does. Musk didn't have a secret formula. He had the willingness to keep going when most people would have stopped. The ability to endure pain, to take risks when it seemed foolish, to push forward when everything was falling apart. Most people think failure is the opposite of success. But failure is a part of success. The biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the ability to keep moving forward when things get tough. So when you face setbacks, when your dreams seem impossible, remember this: success is never about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get back up. The darkest moments, the ones that make you want to quit, are often the moments right before a breakthrough. Keep going, because you never know how close you are to changing everything.